Welcome back to Taking Up Space, the podcast where we talk all about building a life that you actually love, one honest conversation at a time. And sometimes those conversations are with ourselves. I'm your host, Jordan, and today we are going to be hitting reset. We've officially made it to the end of the first quarter of 2025. And if I'm being real, Q1 dragged me through the mud. No matter how much I planned, mapped things out, or tried to stay on track, it felt like setback after setback. And somewhere along the way, I stopped recognizing the life that I was living, and even worse, I stopped recognizing myself. The other day, I opened up my journal and I wrote words that honestly broke me a little. I wrote the words, "I am not happy." That moment hit me hard because for so long, I was happy. I was feeling grounded, content, and proud of the life that I was living. But somewhere along the way, something shifted. And I didn't even realize it until I saw it written down in my own handwriting. And here's the thing, maybe you felt that too. Maybe you're sitting here and you're wondering when your life started to feel like someone else's, or maybe one that you don't recognize anymore. If that's you, you're in the right place, because today we're hitting reset. Because it's not just a new month, but it's a new quarter. It's a new chance to build something better. And no, it's never too late to hit reset. You're not starting from zero. You're starting with every lesson, every tool, and every ounce of strength that got you to this point so far. So if you're ready to rebuild, to start choosing joy, find alignment, and create a life that actually feels good, then go ahead and stay with me. Subscribe and share this with a friend who might need a reset too. And go ahead and follow along on TikTok and Instagram, because we're going to be getting into it. And I'm going to be sharing my journey on all my social media platforms. So let's go. So I broke this episode into basically 3 lessons that I have had to learn either the hard way or just some things that I've tried in the past and they worked, but for some reason, I stopped doing them again. Our first lesson, life doesn't stop because you had a bad day, a rough week, or even a terrible quarter. And y'all, like I said, Q1 was rough for me. No matter how much planning I did, life kept throwing curveball. And honestly, I felt off track every single week. But here's the thing, I'm still here. And I had to remind myself that hard seasons don't mean the journey is over. What really matters is how we acknowledge those hard moments instead of pretending they don't exist. Because when we bottle things up and push through the pain like everything's fine, that's when resentment starts to build. And resentment towards our lives, and sometimes we can have even resentment towards the people in our life and the people that we care about. This quarter forced me into some tough conversations, mainly with myself, but with a few other people. Questions like, do I still want certain people in my life? Is this podcast even worth it? And finally, should I get a second job just to survive? And listen, I had a whole podcast episode about being a single woman, but being a single woman in a big city is not cheap. And I had to add 2 sick dogs to that mix recently, and it felt like I was just hemorrhaging money. Every fear, every anxiety that I've ever had about doing this life alone, it came up loud and clear. The weight of everything had me questioning, well, everything. Not just my goals, but my worth. And that's what happens, right? When life gets heavy, we start believing the lie that we're failing, when really we're just carrying too much. I had to remind myself that missing my goals doesn't mean my goals don't matter. It just means life demanded my attention somewhere else. But if I'm being honest, it didn't feel okay in the moment when I was going through this. I was beating myself up so hard, telling myself I was failing, that my goals must not have mattered because I let them slip. But that's not the truth. The truth is, when we set our goals, we're imagining our ideal scenarios. We're creating these blank slates. No sick pets, no surprise bills, no burnouts, just pure ambition and dreams. But real life, it's messier, and none of that means you failed. It means that you're living, that you are a human being. This next quarter isn't about perfection. It's about the pacing. It's about building goals that live in the real world with all of the mess and the beauty. Because control, I don't have it over everything, but I do have it over how I show up next. So here's what I'm focused on for this quarter. I have 5 specific goals. The first is content growth, consistency, audience. The first is content growth, consistency, audience growth, and most importantly, repurposing content to work smarter, not harder. No more random posting. I mean, I'm sure I'll still have the random one every now and then, but no willy-nilly schedules. It's time to treat this like the business it is. The second is podcast growth. It's simple. Reach more people, engage with folks already here, and make this space even more of a community. My third goal, and it's a scary goal that I've been avoiding, but let's be real, this is a business. I'm trying to build a business here, and it's time to figure out how to build capital for the dream that I'm chasing. Oh, excuse me. The fourth is efficiency in systems. I am one person. Life is going to happen. So Q2 is about building systems that keep this business running, even when I need to take a step back and take care for my dogs or even myself. And finally, community building. And through it all, I want to deepen this community, create more moments where we can connect, where it's not just me talking at you, but us building something together. Because honestly, that's what I've been missing. Connection, alignment, feeling like I'm living the life that I chose. And that's exactly why Q2 is my reset. Not because the calendar says so, but because I say so. Because I've seen what happens when I stay stuck in survival mode, letting life happen to me instead of making life happen for me. This quarter, the theme is simple: build with intention. I'm not just chasing goals. I'm creating systems, making space for joy, and setting myself up to win even when life throws those nasty curveballs. Because the reality is, life isn't just going to stop lifing, but I get to decide how I show up. And this quarter, I'm showing up differently. Yes, that means some days I'll be grinding, but it also means other days I get to breathe because the work is working for me. I chose these goals because I need a change, not just a new to-do list, but a new mindset shift. And honestly, this shift is coming from a place of failure. I failed myself in Q1 a lot. But what's not okay is staying stuck in that place. So I paused, I reflected, and now I'm here and I'm ready to reset. And I'll reset as many times as it takes, because that's how we build the life that we love. One reset, one lesson at a time. So if you're listening to this and you're feeling like you're behind or like you've already messed up for the year, I want you to hear me when I say this. You have not. You're allowed to pause. You're allowed to reset. And this quarter, we're going to go ahead and do it together so that you don't feel alone, and neither do I. Our second lesson is efficiency in time management. It isn't about the hustle, it's about alignment. And this second lesson I've learned, and honestly, it's one I've been fighting, but it's I cannot do and be everything all at once. I have many ways that I identify myself. Dog mom, podcaster, executive assistant, daughter, friend, content creator, editor, writer. All of these identifiers also come with responsibilities. And I cannot do it alone anymore. So something has to give. For most of last quarter, I was really struggling with staying up until midnight trying to edit that podcast audio, squeezing content, creating on my lunch break. And I was still feeling behind. And y'all, half the time I was doing things that weren't moving the needle. They just made me feel busy, made me look busy. And busy is not the same as productive. I actually want you to pause and think about this right now. What's one thing you've been pouring time into that's not giving you anything back? Not joy, not progress, just draining. And then I want you to take a second and I want you to write it down. Because sometimes we do not realize how much energy we're wasting until we see it staring back at us. And this is why I like journaling so much, but I won't get into that so much right now. But this is what happened for me. I started tracking myself for 1 week a couple weeks ago because I knew I was struggling, but I just hadn't had the time or focus to really dig into it. I realized I was spending so much of my time on things that I didn't need to. I was jumping from task to task in an order that hurt my brain. So much energy was being wasted and it left me too exhausted for the real priorities and the things that actually mattered to me and my goals. And while I am in my grinding era, I'm not trying to burn myself out. That's not the goal anymore. What I'm learning is that productivity isn't about doing the most. It's about creating space for the things that actually matter, space for what fills me up. For so long, I've measured productivity by how many things I could check off my to-do list. But y'all, that's exhausting. And honestly, it's not sustainable because life is going to happen to us, whether it's for the good or for the bad. So this quarter, I'm redefining what efficiency looks like for myself. It's not about hustling harder. It's about aligning my energy, doing less of what drains me and more of what brings me joy. And here's how I'm doing that. First, I'm going back to some of the basics: time blocking and task batching. Two tools that have always worked when I actually use them. And it's funny because I did a whole episode on time management. It is one of my most popular episodes, and now I'm out here looking like a hypocrite. So it happens. It happens. I'm calling myself out. But if these terms are new to you, here's a quick breakdown. Task batching is grouping similar tasks together so your brain can stay focused. For example, paying bills and ordering things online. Same headspace, same batch. Dishes and taking out the trash, batch it. It keeps you moving without constantly having to switch gears and forgetting what you were doing. Time blocking is carving out chunks of your day for those tasks. It's opening up your calendar and saying, okay, from 10 to 11, I'm recording. From 1 to 2, I'm in creative mode, and sticking to those time blocks. For me, combining the two is what keeps the chaos from taking over, and it gives my brain structure in the space that I need. Second, I'm intentionally building in creative time. Not content time, but creative time. That means sitting down to just write because I like writing short stories, coloring because I want to color, painting because I want to paint. Whatever gets that part of my brain fired up again, I'm doing. Because creativity honestly fuels everything I do, and I've been neglecting that part of myself. And finally, I'm streamlining where I can. Not everything needs to have my energy. So full transparency, I've started using tools like ChatGPT to help brainstorm content creation. Because yes, I can come up with 3 to 4 ideas on my own each week, but building out a full month of content, I need help. And that's okay. Outsourcing some of that brain power gives me my time back, and that's a trade that I'm willing to make. So as you're listening, if you're also ready to reset or just tweak a few things going on in your life, ask yourself, what am I doing that doesn't actually move the needle or bring me joy? Because here's the truth. It's easy to hold on to tasks, jobs, or habits just so that we can prove that we're doing it all. But at what cost? If the person reaching the goal is exhausted, drained, and miserable, was it really worth it? I don't want that for me, and I don't want that for you. Because if we're being real, we didn't start chasing these dreams just to be busy. We started them because we wanted freedom. We wanted joy. We wanted to wake up and feel good about the life that we're building. And that means the process, the how, also has to feel just as good as the result. Otherwise, what are we doing all of this for? When we hit our goals, we should feel proud, energized, and ready to celebrate, not ready to crawl into bed for a week. Which leads me to my third lesson. We have to take care of ourselves. Let me say this loud and let me say this so clear. Self-care and joy are non-negotiable. They are not rewards. They are requirements for building a life that you actually love. Because when we center our lives around what brings us joy, instead of just our to-do list, something incredible happens. You feel hopeful again. You feel proud of your life. You feel good. Joy is how we rest, how we restore our minds and our bodies. And the truth is, it's not something you have to earn. It's not waiting for you at the finish line of a perfect week. You don't have to check every box or hustle harder to show that you deserve it. We've been conditioned, especially as women, to believe that joy comes after the grind. That only after we struggled long enough, after we've worked hard enough or accomplished enough, do we get the vacation, the treat, the moment of peace. But that's a lie. Joy doesn't come at the end of suffering. Joy is always available to us. We just have to give ourselves permission to prioritize. So here's how I'm doing that in Q2. I'm starting small because joy doesn't have to be these big, grand gestures. And first, I'm carving out time to draw on my iPad again like a little kid. Need my little iPad time. Even if it's just for 30 minutes. No purpose, no content, just creating because it feels good. Second, I'm getting outside more. And I don't mean just walking. I mean grabbing my book and reading on my balcony, going to a coffee shop and sitting outside in the sunshine. Just having these small moments, making me feel more present, that's what I want more of. And lastly, the sacred everything shower. The girls that get it, get it. Once a week, 2 full hours, just me, scrubs, oils, music, the works. Nothing makes me feel more refreshed, more like myself, more sexy than taking that time to care for my body. And listen, taking care of yourself is a skill. And like any skill, it's going to take practice. If you're someone who needs the visual reminder, put it on your calendar. Block that time. That is self-respect, not weakness. You deserve to see yourself as a priority on your schedule. But I also know sometimes figuring out what you need feels overwhelming, especially when you've been in that survival mode and you don't know what joy feels like to you anymore. And if you're listening to this and you're thinking, I don't even know what joy looks like right now, that's okay. Ask yourself, what would make me feel good in this moment right here, right now? A little treat, a bath, a walk, a dance break in your kitchen? Go do it right now. Whatever it is, give yourself permission to lean into it. Not later, not when everything's done, but now. Because here's the thing, self-care doesn't have to be expensive or complicated. There's this myth that it needs to be a whole production, but it's really simple. It's exactly what it says it is. It's caring for yourself. And sometimes that looks like the smallest thing, but sometimes it can also make the biggest difference. So if you've been waiting for permission, this is it. You are allowed to make joy a priority, not later, not after the grind, but now. Because when you build your life around what makes you feel good, you don't just survive, you begin to thrive. Before we wrap, I just want to remind you, you're not doing this alone. Wherever you are right now, thriving, struggling, somewhere in between, I see you. And I'm right there with you. This quarter, we're not chasing perfection. We're choosing to hit restart. We're choosing to build something beautiful, even if it looks different than what we imagined. Because the truth is, building a life that you actually love, it's not this straight line. It's messy. It's full of pivots, pauses, and yes, restarts. And that's okay. We hit a reset as many times as we need. What matters is that we keep building. So here's my challenge for you this week. Ask yourself, what's one small thing that you can do right now to start building a life that you love? Maybe it's adding joy back into your day. Maybe it's setting a boundary. Maybe it's finally giving yourself permission to rest. Whatever it is, do it. Do it for you, not for me, not for your mom, not for your kids, not for your pups, for you. If you're looking for more support or a reminder that you're not in this alone, go ahead and check out a few of my past episodes. Dare to Dream Big is where we talk all about breaking free from limiting beliefs. The art of setting boundaries so you can be you, because protecting your energy is a game changer. And finally, joy as resistance, a reminder that choosing joy is powerful. You can find any of these podcasts wherever you're listening right now, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. And as always, if this episode spoke to you, I want you to go ahead and share it with a friend who might need a reset too. We're in this together. Let's build something beautiful, starting right here, right now. Kisses.